Welcome back to the program. My name is Darrell Crowell. This afternoon, accounting firm PricewaterhouseCoopers has closed down some branches of defunct Heritage and Premium banks. PricewaterhouseCoopers, which is acting as receivers for liquidation of the banks, have also asked staff to step aside for a while. Georgia Faye has been following this story for us.
Heritage Bank, which used to have 8 branches, would now be left with 3 as a result of this rationalization being carried out by a consolidated bank. Premium will be left with its branch at Ridge here in Accra. This should mean that 4 other branches would be closed down. On the staff, sources say PricewaterhouseCoopers is only asking them to step aside for a while as a result of this rationalization being carried out by a consolidated bank. The assurance here is that those workers who have been asked to step aside would be called back after the exercise. We are learning that whilst they are at home, they will still be paid. When Consolidated Bank took over these institutions, there was an undertaking to keep the staff for at least 3 months. The bank has even requested from PricewaterhouseCoopers that it needs some of these workers that are stepping aside, an indication that not all of them would be dismissed. Unlike the UT and Capital Bank situation, PricewaterhouseCoopers, acting as receivers, is now responsible for the workers and assets of the 2 defunct banks, that is Heritage and Premium.
Now, Exim Bank, the main financier of government's flagship One District, One Factory initiative, has declared 2019 a year of action. The bank says projects that have been financed by the bank would be seen and appreciated by the people of Ghana. Speaking to JoyNews' Richard Kojunyako, CEO of the bank, Lawrence Ajinsam, explained the bank was on course to actualizing the dream of President Akufo-Addo to make Ghana an export-led economy.
Lawrence Ajinsam revealed the bank has increased its initial approval of projects under the 1D1F from 13 to 71, and by the end of 2019, it hopes to scale the number up to about 100 under the One District, One Factory projects. Following a visit of the officials, convinced 2019 looks promising because the footprint of the bank is all over the country.
As at August 2018, approvals total almost 771 has been approved by the board of Exim Bank. Actual disbursement by way of cash in terms of working capital and capital expenditure, CAPEX, total almost around 400 million. I've had the opportunity to also visit even the existing Edith-Na Exim projects in the northern region. I've been with the president to Central region, to Ashanti region, to Greater Accra region, and all of it, the footprint of Exim Bank is all over across the country. The existing ones that we came to meet, like cassava projects, mango projects, are also getting attention and support from Exim Bank. I also called 2019 as an action year.
The Exim Bank CEO also outlined projects aimed at supporting the rural poor and other rural sector-driven projects. According to him, apart from the funds used to support the 1D1F projects, the bank has come up with a project called Grassroots Initiative Development Project, which comprises 6 key areas.
We have done projects, what we in banking sector call them corporate banking type of projects. So you doing projects ranging between $5 million, $10 million. But in 2019, we are going to go down more into the SMEs and the retail, so to speak. So we have, through the board, come up with a project called GRID, Grassroots Initiative Development Projects.
The Share Empowerment Initiative is expected to support the development of the share industry, while the Kente Development Project is expected to add a special touch to the development of the Kente fabric and to help open up the industry to the outside world. The greenhouses would be installed across the country to help solve some of the perennial challenges with vegetable production in the country, and the Mining Alternative Livelihoods projects that will support the youth in the mining areas of the country to redirect their focus into the agricultural sector. Richard Kojunyako, JoyNews, Cape Coast.
All right, let's turn to some energy stories. The Electricity Company of Ghana, beginning today, would have new managers to run the company for the next 20 years after Power Distribution Services, PDS, secured its business license from the Energy Commission to begin operations. So what should we expect from today? Fred Asimeni speaks for PDS.
First of all, a lot of investment to transform the electric distribution utility in Ghana. Secondly, we are also bringing a lot of expertise. Our technical partner, Meralco, as you're aware, has been in this industry for 115 years. So they're bringing a lot of expertise. Thirdly, we hope to greatly improve the level of customer service and efficiency and collection rates in the electric distribution utility in the Southern Distribution Zone of Ghana.
What does your whole contract entails? I heard you've been presented with bulk license, this license. I was confused. Per your contract, what are you going to do? Is it a management contract, or what are you going to do, PDS?
Well, our relationship with ECG and the government of Ghana in respect of this transaction is not a takeover. We're not taking over the Electricity Corporation or Electricity Company of Ghana. We're rather leasing its assets for a period of 20 years. And in return for leasing those assets, we'll be making payments to the government of Ghana in the form of a lease payment. But our prime mover in terms of this transaction is to change the performance culture in the distribution utility so that it will inure to the benefit of all Ghanaians and ensure a more efficient distribution of electricity in Ghana.
So the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission earlier this week announced it would keep tariffs unchanged till July this year. This means the budget that businesses set aside for payment of utility tariffs would remain unchanged at least for the next 5 months. Research analysts with the Institute for Energy Security warns against the mounting debt Power Distribution Services would inherit from ECG.
Supposed to be an independent regulator in the computation of tariff, but we all know that the head of the PURC is a political appointee, and the appointing authority is an outcome of an election. The appointing authority got the power to appoint him from an election in which those who suffer the brunt of an increment in tariff are the voters. So consequently, they know that when they make announcements of tariff increments, it necessarily doesn't favor the appointing authority.
Right.
And I think that realistically, we should be looking at increment in tariff, because if you look at the books of ECG, now PDS, we don't expect PDS to continue the incompetent, inefficient operational and technical management practices of ECG that incurred debts which are accumulating for the year 2018 alone. And we have made consistent reference to this debt because we think that when you have formulated a special purpose vehicle like ESLA to pay off old debts, you don't be running a marathon at accumulating new debts. So that
the last time we checked, the energy minister was saying it's about 2.2 billion.
Yes, for the first half of the year, 1.1, second half 1.1, which is roughly about 1.83 billion Ghana cedis debt every month. So even for the deferring of this tariff announcement to June, we can say that it is a financial loss to PDS, which has just taken over, and we don't expect them to be taking tough decisions yet. They'll be looking at management level decisions. But it will mean that by the time the new announcement of tariff will come, there would have been roughly about 400 million Ghana cedis fresh debts on the books waiting for them.
Let's move on here on the marketplace. Minister of Works and Housing Samuel Atachia has challenged local contractors to improve on quality of their works in the housing sector. This, according to him, will enable government to partner more of local sector players to construct affordable homes for Ghanaians as the demand for houses increases. Now, he was speaking at the 10th anniversary and launch of an affordable housing project by Forever Construction and Consultancy Limited in Accra.
I looked at the kind of structures that Forever Construction and Consultancy Limited is putting together. I got persuaded that these houses will pass anywhere in this world. That is what the Ghanaians should aim to do. The Ghanaians should never be associated with mediocrity. I want to stress that. There is nothing about Ghana which is average. So if there is any mindset that we are entitled to averages, we should destroy that mindset. If you brought an architect from Dubai and you got another architect from Ghana and you gave them space to build a house, what the architect in Dubai should put together should not dwarf what the Ghanaian can do. Half the time the Ghanaian contractors are talking about the fact that, oh, we don't give them jobs and businesses to do. It is a policy of this government that what the Ghanaian can do, we will not cede it to a foreigner. But if at the end of the day, the Ghanaian wants to do some good job and we give him the good job, and then you realize that the structure is not even 1 year old and it's leaking. And you could see that there are cracks at the walls. Then it is you who is telling us that you should be blacklisted and you are not worth your hire. So whatever we want to give to Ghanaians, we expect excellence.
Meanwhile, health and safety concerns are said to be deterring some youth from pursuing careers in the field of construction. Development planner Ethel Boateng believes a safer environment will provide opportunities for the teeming unemployed youth. She spoke at a youth initiative and stakeholder forum in Kumasi on health and safety in the construction sector.
Ms. Boateng is calling for national attention to the issue in view of the country's high unemployment.
Every day people are getting injured on our sites, people are dying on our sites, but it's quite silent. And we hardly talk about issues of health and safety in general in Ghana. And then much when it comes to the construction sector, it's silent because it's one sector where there are a lot of job opportunities for young people. But at the same time, people who go looking for jobs there sometimes are not able to demand for the measures that has to be put in place to ensure health and safety. But at the same time, it's a very risky environment.
The forum was under the theme, Perspectives on Youth Health and Safety in the Construction Industry. It seeks to enhance dialogue among key actors on critical issues affecting health and safety of construction workers. Dr. Emmanuel Henkra is construction technologist at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology.
What we are seeing from our studies is that people are beginning to look at the direct cause of accidents as what to deal with. So for instance, if people suffer head injuries on site, they are thinking by providing the worker with a helmet, for instance, is the all in all, it solves the problem. But that really is not the solution to the problem. Because if you have a helmet on and something falls the next time and it hits your shoulder, for instance, you don't have helmets over your shoulder. So that's a big problem. We need to look beyond the direct cause of accidents. This PPE that we use on site, which is a very common thing on our sites, it's good, but it's just meant to deal with the direct cause of accidents. We need to go into the underlying causes of accidents. We need to go into, the safety culture. Are we leaving items loose on site because we don't know we should not leave items loose on site? If you're able to solve it from that point, then you don't have an item that so it falls, so then it hits somebody's head. We need to go beyond these, basic causes.
Reporting for Joy Business, Kwesi Deborah.
Currently,
And you're watching The Marketplace on JoyNews. It's that time of the week where we get an update on stock market activities. Joining me in the studio is Bertha Atubiga of Gold Coast. Thanks for your time this afternoon. Let's begin with who the gainers and losers are for this week.
Okay, thank you very much. The stock market this week has not been too active. Let me put it that way. However,
why is that?
Well, generally, confidence in the financial sector has been down. And we are also expecting that when the listed companies on the stock market release their financials and some of them declare the dividend for last year, that's the last financial year, we could see some improvement or some confidence again in some of the equities based on how they're going to perform. And last week I spoke about Total. Total is one of the companies that actually brought its financial out very positive, and we saw that impact on the stock market. The demand for Total on the exchange last week was very high, and we saw the share price go up significantly, and now it's returning positively to investors. But generally this week we haven't, like I said, we haven't seen much. But midweek we saw FML adding some. It didn't actually add up to a share price. It's still trading at 8 cedis, 8-year open price. However, traded over 1 million shares, about 1.3 million shares were traded in FML, but we didn't see any price change. And if you look at the cycle, the day before it traded about 30, 60 shares.
Okay.
It traded 168 shares, then it went to 1 million, and by close of trade yesterday, it traded only 30 shares on the market. So that bulk trade is what actually made us see significant shares on the exchange. And if you look at the price so far, for the past 3 months, FanMilk has lost 9.91% and it has lost 41.61% in 6 months and lost 51.52% in 1 year. We also saw some two equities, that's GCB, that's as of today, then put it that way, GCB and then CAL, we see more offers on the market than we have for the bid side. That means a lot of people are willing to sell off, but we don't have a lot of buyers on the exchange. Now, GCB before noon today, that's before midday, traded 89,300 shares at 3 cedis 51 pesos, and there were offers that were going for 3.8 Ghana cedis, and then we had people that were ready to sell at 3.5 Ghana cedis.
So if I had money, what would be your picks for me based on all that you have said for this week?
Well, I'll still go in for Societe Generale is one of the active equities on the market now, but it's not always the best time to buy when prices are going up. You buy when prices are low. And I was just mentioning MTN. MTN is below its offer price, so you could actually take advantage. It's a dividend-paying company.
Okay.
So if you want to get some dividends at the end of every financial year, and sometimes they pay interim dividends like we saw last year, you could invest in MTN as well. And gold is also going down. When prices are going down, you can buy. So you can actually get gold as well.
And so what should the investors be looking out for next week?
Next week, we should not expect much to go on, especially when it comes to the volumes that we see on the market. Like I mentioned, confidence generally is down. But if we should see any significant trades, then it's going to be block trades on the exchange. But we should expect trades to still be within what we're seeing right now. The composite index probably might drop next week if we see more equities losing than the gainers on the exchange. And that could also happen with the financial stock index. But by close of trade yesterday, we saw these major indices go up on their opening levels, and they're still recording negative yields. That the composite index is still is around 3.62, and the financial stock index is 2.22. These are losses on the.
And we're bringing this no activity on a financial slowdown. Is that the
No. We still have some trades going on in some financial equities on the market. EcoBank, CAL, GCB, and then Republic Bank. We still have trades going on in these equities on the market.
Not booming as you'd expect?
Well, let's put it that way. It's not booming because the general market is not booming like we expect.
But when do we expect to come out of that?
Well, considering the fact that we haven't, I would be very careful with the word. The financial sector is not very stable. It's not very. There are so many reforms, so many directives that are coming on board with these financial sectors. So we should, hopefully, by mid of this year. It's not going to be instant. Yeah, it's not going to be instant.
And what's happening with the CD is not having a direct impact. You know, we're trying to discuss
unless
that.
Some specific equities, like benzo oil palm plantation, where if the CD is going up, it tends to affect because they do a lot of exports, okay, of their commodities. So the equities that are directly involved, okay, probably benzo oil palm plantation is one equity that I always use because it has that direct impact with the CD. When the CD tends to go up, they tend to benefit because they export, so they get more gains. When the CD is going down, then they also lose on their gains as well.
All right. Thank you very much, Bertha Tibiga, for that update on the stock market. Let's hopefully expect some more positive news next week. Thanks very much for your time. Well, curiosity and a bit of hunger, that's what got Jeffrey Yeboah exploring the use of abandoned car tires for furniture pieces. Today, it's not just a business venture, but his contribution to curbing pollution from plastic waste. Here's our Joy Business Van episode for this week. Scrap tires, burnt to retrieve steel, or in some cases used to roast livestock. Then, dangerous emissions, which will later create health problems. There are millions of such scrap tires across the country, not used for any purpose. And those that are burned become breeding places for thousands of mosquitoes. Entrepreneur Jeffrey Abua has however found use for these abandoned tires. He's brought me to one of the places in Accra where he collects them. Tires which would eventually be turned into beautiful furniture pieces. At his workshop in Medina, a suburb of Accra, Jeffrey gets to work. Jeffrey, who was a wallpaper painter, recounts how the idea to make furniture pieces from vehicle tires came to him.
I had this client, Akwesi Bonsu, of my story magazine. Akwesi Bonsu wanted a center table, but the way he described a center table, I realized I can't get some in Ghana, but he saw it online. It was not type per se, but a round wooden furniture sort of, so he wanted that.
In his quest to satisfy his client, he began to roam.
We roamed the streets of Accra, we couldn't get. So for us, when we got to Jowulu, they had packed some car tires, I think roughly about 100. And these guys were about to set fire in them. They were whisk tires, they were about to set fire in them. Some were big, different sizes. So we drove past, and then I was like, Akwesi, do you know we can make tables out of these car tires? Then he laughed. I also laughed. By then, honestly, genuinely, I had no idea what I was talking about.
At first, it sounded like a joke, but Jeffrey would give it a try anyway. Today, Jeffrey is making a coffee table using a recycled tire, plywood, and colored ropes sourced locally to produce his designs. Some of his furniture pieces come with a bit of African fabric. Typically, how long does it take to finish something like this?
Something like this tire is small, and it's more or less like a side table. It will take me roughly 3 to 4 hours. That's with enough concentration. 3 to 4 hours to finish weaving completely. You see it just like this, oh, it's just a tire and ropes, but the color variation, the design, I have to think, I have to measure, I have to know where to put this, where not to put it, because if I should start this thing here, I'm going to get a whole mistake altogether. It will be nice to you, but it's a mistake of mine.
In the last 2 years, the university student has sold hundreds of pieces of furniture costing between 150 Ghana cedis and 1,200 Ghana cedis. His main mode of advertisement is social media, and on the average, has 4 to 5 clients calling every week for his products.
It takes about, depending on the order that the client asks for, it takes about 3 to 4 days to finish with the client order, because I do, most of the things I do are bespoke. So clients will, they say, okay, I want this color, I want that color, I want this, I want that design that you did for this person, but do it like this for me. I allow clients to be free, so that you also feel a part of the whole production process. So when you have this thing in your room, you realize, okay, I did the design out, I wanted it like this and I have it like that.
Jeffrey has currently employed 2 people, and he's excited about what he does. In fact, his ambition is to create several production centers across the country and pass on the skill to more young people. But what excites him the most is the impact he's making on the environment and the lives he may be saving by collecting these scrap tires.
There's this guy, Boyan Slat. Boyan Slat traveled, he's a diver. He has come out with a research that there are more plastics in the sea than fishes. That is now. So imagine what we face as time goes on. This plastics, time becomes a part of them in the seas. So we have a massive problem with car tires. Because of their shape and sizes, it's very difficult to dispose. The only thing you can do is to throw them in the seas or bend them. And all this have their own problems, carcinogenic problems that they pose.
Yeah. Well, this is not just a Ghana problem. According to The Guardian, every day 100,000 tires are taken off cars, vans, trucks, buses, and bicycles. It is estimated that there are now more than 200 million lying around. Great stuff from entrepreneur Jeffrey Abua. That's it for the marketplace. My name is Darryl Kwao. I've been filling in for Emmanuel Bajiri. Who returns next week Monday. Stay with us.